In the bustling city of Ibadan, Ayo stood at the entrance of a grand mansion. She held a broom and a mop ready for a long day of cleaning. It was another job, one of many she took to support her family, but as she stepped inside, the sight of a familiar photograph stopped her. It was a picture of her as a child, smiling happily. "Why is my photo here?" she whispered, heart racing. She scanned the room cautiously. Rich furniture, expensive art, and there, in a frame, was her picture. Suddenly, she heard footsteps. Mrs. Adewale, the mansion owner, entered. "Ah, Ayo, you're here on time," she said, not noticing Ayo's distraction. "Yes, Ma," Ayo replied, forcing a smile. "Can I ask you something?" Mrs. Adewale looked taken aback. "Of course." "This photo," Ayo pointed. "It's me. Why is it here?" Mrs. Adewale frowned slightly. "That photo? It's probably been here forever. My husband finds things at auctions." "Auctions?" Ayo repeated, confusion growing. Just then, a young man named Femi walked in, Mrs. Adewale's son. He glanced at the picture and back at Ayo. "Is everything all right?" His presence made Ayo uneasy. "It's nothing, just curious." Later, as Ayo cleaned, she couldn't shake the feeling of something being wrong. She replayed childhood memories, trying to understand how her picture ended up in a stranger's home. During lunch, she tried to piece it together. "My family couldn't afford anything like this," she thought aloud, eyes wandering the lavish surroundings. "Did they sell me out without knowing?" In the evening, as Ayo was about to leave, Femi approached her. "Hey, Ayo," he said kindly. "You seemed upset earlier. Are you sure you're okay?" Ayo hesitated. "It's just that photo," she began but stopped herself. "No, it's nothing." He nodded slowly, sensing her unease. "Well, if you need help with anything, let me know." As days turned into weeks, Ayo found herself growing closer to Femi. He was kind and genuinely curious about her life. One afternoon, they sat under a tree in the garden during her break. "Ayo, why don't you tell me more about yourself?" Femi asked, leaning back against the bark. Ayo looked at the sky, trying to find the right words. "My family is all I've got," she said simply. "It hasn't been easy." Then, Femi shared something unexpected. "You know, this house has a lot of secrets. My father, he wasn't always the man you see today." Ayo listened intently, heart beating faster. "What do you mean?" Femi sighed. "He made his money quickly, too quickly if you ask me. Sometimes I feel like we're living in a house built on stories that don't belong to us." Ayo's curiosity piqued. That evening, she called her mother. "Mama, did something happen in the past I should know about?" Her mother hesitated over the phone. "Why do you ask, Ayo?" "I found something familiar at work." Ayo pressed, trying not to reveal too much. Her mother sighed deeply. "When you were young, there were opportunities that didn't go our way. Your father tried to fix things, but it was too late." "What do you mean, Mama?" Ayo asked, frustration creeping in. "There were investments and, well, not everything was ours to sell," her mother confessed quietly. The words stung, but Ayo felt pieces clicking into place. The photograph, the mansion, and Mrs. Adewale's strange answer. Could it be her family was involved with the Adewales in the past? The next day, Ayo confronted Mrs. Adewale. "Can you tell me more about the photo?" Mrs. Adewale glanced at her sharply. "Ayo, please focus on your work," she said dismissively. But Ayo was persistent. "I need to know. Who brought it here?" "Leave it alone. It's just a photo," Mrs. Adewale snapped. Ayo nodded slowly, but inside her resolve hardened. She wouldn't just leave it alone. In a secluded moment, Ayo whispered to Femi, "Help me, Femi. I need to find the truth." Femi nodded. "I'll look into it. My father's old documents might have answers." They planned to meet secretly to search for information, but as they dug deeper, they risked exposing more than just Ayo's past. One night, as Ayo was going through an old box of papers, Femi sneaked to her. She found a striking document, her family's name among a list of creditors. "How did my family owe yours?" she wondered aloud. Determined, she approached Femi again. "Why didn't you tell me your family knew mine?" she demanded. His eyes widened. "I didn't know. My father never talks about our past." Just then the door swung open and Mr. Adewale stood there, his expression unreadable. What are you doing with those papers? Io's heart pounded. She held the paper tighter. Tell me, why is my family's name here with what's yours? Mr. Attawale withdrew one step, eyes darkening. Some truths are best left buried. Ao held her ground. Not for me. Now she was torn between finding answers and the possibility of betraying the only friend she'd found in her quest for truth. The walls seemed to close in, and as tension thickened, Ao knew. This was only the beginning. Mr. Attawale's voice cut through the air like a blade. Why is this in your hands, Io? He demanded, pointing at the paper. His eyes darkened like a brewing storm. Io swallowed, her voice steady despite the fear curling in her gut. My family's name is here. I deserve to know the truth, she stated, refusing to back down. Femi stood by, his eyes darting between his father and Io, feeling caught in a chasm he didn't know how to cross. Mr. Attawale sighed, his shoulders sagging under the weight of secrets long buried. There are things I wish I could erase, he said finally. Your father and I, we had dealings. When the arrangements fell through, he paid the price. What price? Ao demanded, the words echoing with the pain of years of lost opportunities and silent whispers. Io's eyes burned with unshed tears, her heart shattering at the revelation. You destroyed us, she whispered, the accusation more for the years of silence than just the man's actions. I did what I had to for my family, Mr. Attawale defended weakly, but the conviction in his voice faltered. Femi, shaken, turned to Ao. I'm sorry, he murmured, reaching out, but the space between them felt infinitely wide. Ao stepped back, her emotions raw. She'd thought exposure would bring relief, yet all she felt was emptiness. I don't know what to do anymore, she admitted, her voice cracking. Interactions over the next few days were stilted, heavy with everything unsaid. As Ao continued her work, the resentment simmered beneath her calm exterior. Each time she glanced at Femi, her mind replayed the revelation of deceit and pain. One morning, while dusting the framed photograph, she faltered, and it slipped, the sound of glass shattering a match strike in a room full of gunpowder. Let it go, Femi urged softly, but Ao couldn't, her heart refusing to quiet its storm. Unable to keep the turmoil inside any longer, Ao confronted Mrs. Attawale, her emotions barely held in check. Your husband took everything from us, she accused, her voice heavy with blame and bitterness. Mrs. Attawale, taken aback, glanced at her son, then back at Io. Io, whatever happened? We can't change it now. Ao shook her head, anger flaring. You speak of change, but you live with the rewards of our losses. There is more at stake than revenge, Ao. Mrs. Attawale tried, her words resembling an olive branch extended too late. Frustration spilled into an evening spent alone, shadows of doubt and anger twisting through Io's heart. Every attempt to forge a future seemed fractal breakable under the weight of history's hand. In her rented room, Io knelt by her bed, tears soaking the blanket beneath her as she cried out, God, what now? Is revenge the path, or is there peace I can't see? Her prayer was met with silence, but a sense of release started to ease the tightness within her chest. The following Sunday, Ao reluctantly attended church with her family. Her thoughts kept revisiting her pain and anger, like a thief pulling at old wounds, seeking fresher ache. The sermon disrupted her turbulent sea of thoughts. The pastor's words, spoken with quiet authority, were like gentle rain on scorched earth. Forgiveness is not for the one who wronged you. It's for your heart to find rest. Something within Ao cracked, her resolve clashing with a greater truth she had resisted. Revenge didn't promise healing, but faith and forgiveness bore that hope. After church, standing among the departing congregation, Femi's voice came from behind her. Io, he said, seeking her gaze. I didn't think things would turn out this way. He looked as though he carried a burden of his own, sharing in her pain. She hesitated, words of accusation on the tip of her tongue, but she remembered the pastor's message. It's not your fault, Femi, she said softly, feeling the power of her own forgiveness more than his culpability. We're both victims of past shadows. Life's rhythm returned, albeit awkwardly, and Ao somehow found herself at the mansion again, the once opulent halls holding new echoes of fragile family ties. The Attawales treated her with an uncertain kindness. Recognizing their own fallibility, they seemed eager to mend bridges yet unseen. Mr. Attawale approached her with an offer for reparations. I can't undo what I did, but I can try to make it right, if you'll let me. He spoke with genuine contrition. Ao considered, words floating on her tongue. Will it ever be enough? Then Ao remembered who she was and who she was. Maybe not, she admitted honestly, meeting his gaze. But healing doesn't come from looking backward indefinitely. Mr. Attawale nodded, a ghost of hope in his aging eyes. Thank you, Ao, he said, acknowledging the grace given where none was demanded. The disjointed families shared more dinners, more conversations, slowly piecing the puzzle of the past while sketching new outlines for a mutual future. It wasn't easy. Old wounds festered like hidden scars, but were met with a collective commitment to heal. One evening, after a laborious day, Io sat with Femi under the familiar tree. You know, there was a time when all I wanted was retribution, she confessed, the emotion raw but no longer jagged. Femi listened closely. And now? Now, I know that holding on to that hurt only hurts me, she said, allowing a smile to break through. It doesn't diminish what happened, but it doesn't control me anymore. What began as an ominous confrontation evolved into redemption's quiet unfolding. Io found herself enveloped by clarity, realizing that while their connection might have started in shadows, light had found its way in, even through slivers. Our families will have stories of failures, of regrets, Ao stated, her voice carrying warmth, but they'll also speak of forgiveness and renewal. Mr. Attawale, having returned to his faith through trial, acknowledged this divine patience. It's a chance, a costly one, but priceless, he admitted to Ao one afternoon. His words, saturated in humility, signaled a transformation only grace allowed. As the sun dipped below Ibadan's horizon, Io stood at the gates of the mansion, feeling the weight of her decision, choosing forgiveness not as an ending, but as a beginning. The photograph of her childhood was no longer a mystery framed in accusation, but a reminder of hope reborn. God had not prevented the pain, but in him she had found peace and a new beginning. As she walked away, it was with a heart redefined by new possibilities, her eyes set on a horizon only faith had revealed.
Thank you so much for listening to this intriguing story. I hope it touched you or taught you something. For more stories like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the page. And guys, if you'd like to see a part 2, or you have thoughts on what happened, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.